Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome to my channel where I discuss everything between Hermes and grocery bags. So it's been a while since I did one of these. I think it was somewhere in November last year, I guess, when I did a video about Balenciaga. But occasionally it happens that I see something or I hear about something and it triggers me to spiral into a thought process where usually towards the end I'm thinking, why does anybody do anything? And in this case, I was triggered by a video by Thor from Anthropology. He has a very interesting YouTube channel about luxury, but you can also see that this guy is just very intelligent, and he also covers a number of other topics. And a video that I saw from him a while ago was about how he was transitioning into a more minimalistic lifestyle, and he was giving some reasons into that, and he made some excellent points, which then kind of probed me to think about, why do we prioritize luxury? Should we even be prioritizing luxury? And under which circumstances should we be prioritizing luxury? So I have my laptop over here on which I made some notes just to make sure I don't lose track of my thoughts too much. And here on the side I have my Givenchy Antigona Mini just as a little bit of eye candy. But today will really be mostly about just drinking tea and putting out some of my thoughts that I have on the topic of prioritizing luxury. So first of all, what I really find interesting about the whole luxury community is that everybody seems to be doing a different thing. On the one hand, pretty much everything you are doing is okay, and then on the other hand, pretty much everything you're doing is also not right or not the good thing to do. So just to give some examples, some people are unboxing luxury bags or luxury items pretty much every week. Others will admit that they would like to do so, but they don't really have the funds for doing that, and that it's actually also really hard on YouTube because the unboxings are the things that give you views. It's very tempting to do unboxings, but it's not a financially wise thing to do, or you just end up returning everything, which can also give you comments as a YouTuber because you're basically just then unboxing for the views and returning stuff, and people don't like that either. Then on the other hand, there's this whole spectrum of people that have perhaps had a big luxury collection in the past or don't really care about having a big luxury collection, and they are trending more towards minimalism, or they are saying it is enough for me to have one Birkin because this is a bag that will last me a lifetime. So everybody is kind of doing something else, and whatever people are doing, it is either fine if you look at it like that, or it's also not fine because everybody always gets critiqued for whatever it is that they are doing. So I just want to say three things here. First of all, what you are seeing on the internet, it's definitely not the lifestyle of the average person. The second point I really want to emphasize here is I would be cautious that it's not something that you start looking up to, and even more importantly, it's not something that you start feeling bad about. Whatever your bag collection is, that is perfectly fine as it is. And then the last point I want to emphasize is that however you see fit to spend your money, you don't have to explain your choices to anyone, assuming that you are financially responsible. Just because money is yours, it doesn't mean that there cannot be circumstances where you are in a position where you're spending it so unwisely that people may express their concern about how you are spending it. But I'm not trying to cover those situations here in this video. So let's say that you indeed have an income, you have some disposable income, and you are at the opportunity to make some different financial decisions. One decision that a lot of people make, which is I think not very often discussed in this community, is that people will exchange work for leisure time. So it's something that we see in the Netherlands quite a lot. But just to say, rather than working hard to be able to afford luxury, you can also just say, rather than having that additional income from working and spending that on luxury, I might actually prefer to have some more leisure time. So for me, that's always been a bit of a difficult one. I mean, obviously you could also work more, right? So the regular working week in the Netherlands is 40 hours, and I could be working more, I could get a side hustle, but on the other hand, I could also decide to work less. And honestly, I might at some point in time, but we don't have children. I like my job, so it's perfectly fine for me to do it 40 hours a week. So it's not a decision I'm making, or I am not making right now, but it's definitely a decision that I see a lot of people take around me. Then the second choice you can make with any disposable income is to decide whether you're going to spend it or if you are going to save it. So if you're going to spend it, or perhaps save it for a little bit and then later on spend it on luxury bags? Well, I mean, in some cases things are considered an investment, but I would say bags have become so expensive that I think a lot of them are not really investment pieces anymore. In any case, let's just assume that if you're spending money on luxury bags to some extent, especially if you're enjoying these bags, that money will be spent rather than saved. You need to find a balance between how much you save and how much you spend. So when I was younger, I was really focusing on saving, which was also very helpful back then because I managed to go debt-free through college, which I know is exceptional, and it's also something that could only happen, I think, back then in the Netherlands. I was really in very fortunate circumstances, and by the time I was around 26, 27, I could make a very decent down payment on our house. Right now, I've changed that a little bit, so I'm more focused towards spending than I used to be. My income has fortunately grown over time. It does leave me with some more income to spend on frivolous things. And yes, I could save that all. I mean, it's important, of course, to save money for your future, but I've also realized that life is short. The time to live is also now. And then in a third category was kind of thinking about the balance between having more like basic types of goods versus luxury types of goods or luxury versions of types of goods. Like, not everything you buy needs to be luxury, of course. And when I look at some luxury YouTubers, it seems that pretty much everything in their life is luxury. Like, the house is luxury, the car is luxury, the jewelry is luxury, the shoes, the ready-to-wear, the bags, the SLG, like everything is luxury. But I think you need to be extremely wealthy to be able to afford all of that. This is not the reality for the average person, right? It's also not my reality. I really enjoy my luxury handbags, but a lot of other things in my life are kind of plain. Trying to think if there's anything else I really would spend luxury type of money on, but I cannot really think of anything. So we have a very nice house. It's spacious, but on the luxury spectrum of housing, I would definitely not say that it's there. I have a very boring car. It's a very small car, as you can see, and I'm sorry, like, this is just my Sunday hiking outfit, but I also don't really put a lot of money towards clothing, not a lot towards shoes, not a lot towards expensive foods. Just a lot of things in my life are not of a luxury lifestyle because I simply don't really care about those. I really enjoy luxury handbags. That is my thing. That is what gives me a smile at the end of the day. I would really try to make a cautious decision about what is it that you really want to have designer or luxury versions of. It can be quite pressuring to think that you need to have luxury of everything. And I know that for some people, just having that appearance to the outside matters a lot. To me personally, it's not worth it to be so occupied with the perception that other people have of me. My designer bags don't define me. The things I own don't define me. The person that I am defines me. Be cautious that the things you own don't end up owning you, because at the end of the day, they are just things. We've been talking about things quite a lot, but frankly also a lot of people just spend money on experiences, right? And I think that is something that I often see when it comes to this judgment of having luxury bags. And I think that's because a lot of people basically prefer to spend money on experiences and not on things. Honestly, I think it can be a bit snobby if somebody who takes a 3,000 euro holiday is then judging somebody else for buying a luxury handbag that costs 3,000 euros. In the sense of, it's your money, you should be able to do with it what you like. One thing is really not better than the other. So don't let people tell you that you're spending your money wrong by spending it on goods and not on experiences. Personally, I'm not really such a big fan of vacations. And I know that might seem very odd, but whenever I need to go on holiday, that in itself just gives me massive decision fatigue. Quite frankly, nowadays when I go on holiday, I let my partner do most of the decision making because he has an easier time doing that, and I can be much more comfortable just tagging along and then actually just experiencing the holiday. But when I'm looking at things, be it handbags or also like a computer or something like that, for some reason I do find it easier. Plus, if you have a physical good, you can usually go back on it to some extent. If you are buying an experience, you need to experience it, and once you have experienced it, you usually don't get your money back if you're not enjoying it. So in any case, I'm rambling just about my personal situation, but just to say that you don't necessarily have to prefer experiences over things, but again, experience over things. That is also perfectly fine. or have a great balance between the two. Just because people might be of the opinion that you should be going on holiday, because going on holiday, that is something that people do if they have the funds to do so. Well, simply that is not the case. You can be perfectly happy without taking a holiday, as long as you take some time to yourself to recharge. So that's it for today. Didn't actually make it through my tea halfway, so I'll finish this before it gets cold. But just to summarize, be aware that whatever people are doing on the internet is not real. Make sure you're financially secure, but then if you are, the money that you have to your disposal, that is yours to determine how to spend, and it's not somebody else's decision how to judge. If perhaps you want to have more free time, it's perfectly fine to work less. It's also your prerogative to work more. Make sure you find a good balance between spending and saving, because yes, we do live today, but we'll probably, if we're lucky, also be alive tomorrow. Balance between basic goods and luxury goods, because there's only very few people in this world that can get luxury stuff or designer stuff of everything. So do spend it wisely on the things you actually enjoy. And finally, determine how happy it makes you to spend your money on stuff versus spending your money on experiences. It's all about balance. It's not necessarily always easy, but it is your process. It's your decision. It's not for somebody else to judge, just so that you know that. So thanks for listening in to my Blabby video today. Let me know your thoughts on the topic down below. I'd be interested in hearing them. Remember, for now, there's a style in a situation and a taste for everything. So don't judge, wear whatever the back you like. Until next time, or as we would say in Dutch, doei!